Every single day, stores near you are throwing away things that serious gardeners would pay good money for. Not scraps, not garbage. Actual useful materials that can replace things you'd otherwise buy. Containers, soil amendments, weed barriers, growing trays, drainage solutions. All of it going into a dumpster or a recycling bin while you're at the garden center, spending money on the exact same thing in a different form. Today, we're going through 10 of them. What they are, which stores to ask at, exactly how to use them in your garden, and in a few cases, why what the store is throwing away is actually better than what you'd buy new. Let's get into it. Number 1, food grade, 5-gallon buckets. 5-gallon buckets are one of the most versatile containers in any garden, and most people buy them new at the hardware store for $4 or $5 each. Bakeries, delis, and restaurant supply kitchens go through them constantly, frosting, pickles, sauces, olives, and they cannot reuse them commercially once opened, so they throw them away. Walk into any grocery store with an in-house bakery and ask the bakery department if they have any 5-gallon buckets they're getting rid of. Most will say yes immediately. Some stores keep a small stack specifically because people ask. The key phrase is food grade. These buckets held food, which means they're made from safe, non-leaching plastic. That matters for growing anything you plan to eat. What can you do with them? Almost everything. Container growing for tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, herbs. Stack them and drill drainage holes for a vertical growing system. Use them for mixing compost, hauling soil, collecting rainwater, storing seed starting mix. Drill a grid of small holes in the bottom and sides, and bury one in a bed as a sub-irrigation reservoir. The list genuinely does not end. Did you know a single 5-gallon bucket is the ideal size for growing one indeterminate tomato plant? Exactly enough. Root volume for the plant to thrive without the weight and expense of a large raised bed planter. Commercial container growers have known this for decades. Number 2, large cardboard sheets. Cardboard is one of the most powerful tools in a low-effort garden, and appliance stores, furniture stores, and big box retailers are drowning in it. Refrigerators, washing machines, sofas, everything ships in enormous sheets of thick, double-walled cardboard that stores break down and either recycle or throw away daily. Here's what cardboard does in a garden that nothing you can buy quite replicates. Laid flat on the ground and overlapped at the edges, it kills grass and weeds completely within a few weeks. No digging, no herbicide, no landscape fabric that costs money and degrades into microplastics. The cardboard smothers everything beneath it by blocking light, then breaks down completely into the soil over the following months, feeding the earthworms and adding organic matter as it goes. This is the foundation of the no-dig gardening method that has taken over the permaculture and homesteading world in the last decade. The technique is simple. Lay down overlapping cardboard sheets. Remove any tape or staples first. Wet them thoroughly so they conform to the ground, then pile 4 to 6 inches of compost or wood chips on top. You can plant directly into that top layer immediately. By the time your plant roots grow down far enough to hit the cardboard, it has already started breaking down. Ask at appliance stores, furniture stores, bike shops, and the receiving docks of any large retailer. They will almost always say yes, and often thank you for taking it. Number 3, coffee grounds. Coffee shops go through staggering amounts of spent coffee grounds every single day. A busy cafe can produce 30 to 50 pounds of spent grounds daily. Most of it goes straight into the trash. Spent coffee grounds are a legitimate soil amendment with real value. They contain nitrogen, roughly 2% by weight, along with potassium, magnesium, and copper. In a compost pile, they are a green material that heats the pile and accelerates decomposition. Mixed directly into soil or spread as a top dressing, they improve drainage in clay-heavy soils and add organic matter. The part that surprises most people, spent grounds are close to pH neutral, between 6 and 6.5, despite the fact that everyone assumes coffee is acidic. The acidity is largely water-soluble and goes into your cup. What's left behind is far milder than most people think, which means you can use them more broadly than the old advice of only for acid-loving plants suggests. They also suppress certain fungal diseases when used as a mulch layer, and there is evidence that some common garden pests, slugs in particular, avoid moving across a band of coffee grounds. Starbucks ran a program for years called Grounds for Your Garden, where they bagged up spent grounds for customers to take. Many independent cafes will do the same if you simply ask. Bring your own container, make it easy for them, and most will be happy to set grounds aside for you regularly. Number 4, plastic milk crates. Plastic milk crates are everywhere in the back of grocery stores and dairy delivery operations, and a percentage of them get damaged, cracked, or go missing from rotation and end up being discarded. They are made from high-density polyethylene, the same material as food-safe containers, and they are built to be extremely durable. In the garden, a milk crate is essentially a pre-made raised planter with drainage built in. Line one with burlap or landscape fabric to hold the soil while still allowing drainage. Fill it with potting mix, and you have a container that holds roughly 4 to 5 gallons, enough for a pepper plant, a cluster of herbs, a head of lettuce, or a strawberry planting. Stack 2 crates, and you have an elevated planter that is genuinely easier on your back. Flip one upside down and use it as a plant stand to get a container up into better light. Use them to store and organize pots, tools, seed packets, and garden supplies. The structural design, open sides, rigid frame, stackable, also makes them excellent for supporting climbing plants. Set one over a young cucumber or bean seedling, and let the plant use the grid as its first trellis while it establishes. Check with local grocery stores and dairy suppliers. Crates that are cracked or broken beyond use in their delivery system are fair game. Most stores will be happy to hand them over rather than deal with disposal. Number 5. Wooden pallets, HT. Only. Wooden pallets are everywhere, and the gardening internet loves them. But there is one piece of information that you absolutely must know before you bring a pallet anywhere near your garden, and it is stamped right on the wood. Look for the letters HT on the pallet stamp. HT stands for heat treated. It means the wood was treated with heat to kill pests and pathogens and nothing else. This is the only kind of pallet you want. If you see MB on the stamp, that stands for methyl bromide, a fumigant that is toxic and persistent in wood. That pallet stays in the dumpster. No exceptions. If there is no stamp at all, leave it. You cannot know what it was treated with. HT pallets that are clean and structurally sound have an extraordinary number of garden applications. Stand one vertically, staple landscape fabric across the back, and fill the gaps between slats with soil, and you have a wall planter that can hold herbs, strawberries, or shallow-rooted greens. Lay 2 flat and stack one on top of the other to create a raised bed frame. 4 pallets arranged in a square give you a solid 12 square foot growing bed. Use the slats for path edging, compost bin framing, or a simple trellis structure. Hardware stores, home improvement centers, feed stores, and any business that receives large deliveries will typically have pallets available. Ask at the receiving dock rather than the front desk. The people unloading deliveries are the ones who know what's going spare. Number 6. Nursery pots and seedling trays. Garden centers and nurseries end up with enormous quantities of empty plastic pots and seedling trays, the black ones that plants come in when you buy them at retail. After they sell the plant, the container has no value to them, and most of it goes into recycling or landfill. These are exactly what you need for seeds starting in propagation, and they are not easy to find cheaply once you're looking for them. Nursery pots in 1 gallon, 2 gallon, and 3 gallon sizes are perfect for starting cuttings, potting up seedlings, and growing on transplants before they go into the ground. Seedling trays, the ones with individual cells, are exactly what commercial growers use because they work. The cell structure keeps root system separate, reduces transplant shock, makes it easy to pop seedlings out cleanly. The quality of discarded nursery containers is often better than what you'd buy in a pack at a big box store. Commercial nurseries use heavy-duty stock that is designed to be handled repeatedly and to last. Call ahead to local independent garden centers and nurseries. The smaller operations are more likely to say yes than large chains. Ask if they have any containers they'd be getting rid of at the end of the season or after a shipment arrives. Timing matters. Right after a large delivery, there are often hundreds of empty pots that need to go somewhere. Number 7. Bakery bread trays and produce trays. These are the flat, open grid plastic trays that bakeries use to transport bread and that produce departments use for fruits and vegetables, typically around 2 inches deep with an open lattice bottom. They stack, they're lightweight, they're extremely durable, and they are thrown away constantly. In the garden, they are outstanding seed starting and seedling management trays. The open grid bottom provides drainage that most store-bought seed trays simply cannot match. Water moves through freely, and roots never sit in standing water. Place them on a heat mat for germination, and they work beautifully. They are also excellent for hardening off seedlings, the process of gradually acclimating indoor-started plants to outdoor conditions before transplanting. The trays let you move a whole flat of seedlings in and out in one trip, and the open sides allow airflow that toughens the plants up faster. Bakery operations and grocery store produce departments cycle through these trays and regularly retire damaged or surplus ones. A crack or broken corner that makes a tray useless for commercial transport makes absolutely no difference for garden use. Ask at the bakery counter or the produce manager. A broken tray they cannot use is something they will happily hand over. Number 8. Burlap coffee sacks and grain sacks. This one surprises people every time. Coffee roasters and importers receive raw green coffee beans in large burlap sacks, 50 to 100 kilos each. And once emptied, those sacks are just sitting there. Specialty coffee roasters in particular go through them regularly, and most have no use for the empty sacks. The same goes for feed stores and grain mills that receive product in burlap. In the garden, burlap sacks are extraordinarily versatile. The most obvious use is as a growing container. Fill one with potting mix, fold the top down, cut drainage slits in the bottom, and you have a large fabric planter that breathes beautifully. Unlike plastic containers, burlap allows air pruning of roots. When roots reach the edge of the container and hit air, they stop growing and branch back inward, creating a dense, fibrous root system that is significantly healthier than the circling roots you get in plastic. Spread flat, burlap makes an excellent biodegradable weed barrier that works like landscape fabric but breaks down into the soil over 2 to 3 seasons without leaving any synthetic residue. It is especially useful around young fruit trees and perennials, where you want weed suppression during establishment but do not want permanent synthetic material in the soil. Cut into strips, burlap is ideal for tying and staking. It is strong enough to support a branch or a heavy tomato vine, but soft enough not to cut into the plant. Use it to wrap bare root plants, protect tree trunks from frost and sun scald, or cover cold, sensitive plants for the shoulder seasons. Ask at specialty coffee roasters first. They tend to get the most interesting sacks and are usually happy to give them away. Feed stores and farm supply shops are another consistent source. Number 9, egg cartons. This one is sitting at the checkout counter of every grocery store in the world, and almost nobody thinks to ask for it. Grocery stores and restaurants crack a lot of eggs. Commercial kitchens, cafe breakfast counters, in-store bakeries. They go through cardboard egg cartons by the case, and most of it goes straight into recycling or trash. The cartons that came in damaged or got wet during delivery are useless to them. To you, they are perfect. Each cell of a cardboard egg carton is almost exactly the right size for starting a seed. Fill each cell with seed starting mix, drop in a seed, water gently, and you have a 12-cell seed tray that costs nothing and solves the transplanting problem completely. Because when your seedling is ready to go into the ground, you plant the whole thing. The cardboard breaks down in the soil within a few weeks, and the roots grow straight through without any disturbance at all. Zero transplant shock. The cardboard actually helps retain moisture around the new transplant while it establishes. They also work as a fire starter for getting your outdoor fire pit or chimenea going, but that is a bonus. In the garden, they are a legitimate seed starting tool that commercial market gardeners use deliberately. Ask at any cafe, grocery store, bakery counter, or breakfast-focused restaurant. They will almost always have a stack. Bring your own bag. They compress flat, and you can carry 100 of them easily. Number 10, newspaper and newsprint rolls. Print newspapers are dying, and print shops regularly have end rolls. The last few hundred feet of a newsprint roll that is not long enough to run through a press, sitting in the back with nowhere to go. Regular household newspaper works just as well. In the garden, newspaper layered 5 to 10 sheets thick and wetted down blocks, light as effectively as cardboard, conforms to uneven ground more easily and breaks down faster. Use it between rows as a weed-suppressing path cover or around newly transplanted seedlings to retain moisture during establishment. It also rolls into biodegradable seed-starting pots, a technique that goes back generations. Roll a few sheets around a small cylinder, fold the bottom closed, fill with soil, and start your seed. When transplant time comes, the whole pot goes in the ground, and the roots push straight through as it breaks down. Zero transplant shock. Shredded newspaper is also an excellent carbon layer in a compost pile. And here is something most gardeners get wrong. Most people avoid it because they think the ink is toxic. That was true 50 years ago. The EPA imposed regulations, the industry shifted. And by the 90s, virtually all newspaper printers moved to soy and water-based inks. Regular newsprint is completely safe. The one exception is glossy magazine inserts. Leave those out. And if you run a vermicompost bin, shredded newspaper is one of the best bedding materials you can give your worms. They love burrowing through it. It holds moisture perfectly, and it breaks down right alongside the food scraps. Local print shops and community newspapers are worth asking. End rolls can give you hundreds of square feet in one pickup. None of this requires much effort. A phone call, a conversation at the right counter, showing up at the right time. The stores are doing this stuff anyway. You're just redirecting it on the way out. Have you ever scored a cool item for your garden that was thrown in the garbage? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them. That's it for today. Hope you learned a lot. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.